Wow, what a powerful episode you're about to listen to. This is a business of passion and people. And it's so amazing when I meet someone that is so strongly aligned with the industry goals and what we're all trying to achieve. Today is that interview. I'm speaking with John Arendt, and he's the Senior Director of Franchise Development for an amazing company called Keke's Breakfast Cafe. Now, what's really amazing is everyone seems to be struggling with labor challenges, and Keke's has a single shift model, which leads to quality of life balance, no burnout, involved team members that also share the pride in the business. And we talk about training, providing an amazing product to our guests with happy people doing it. And there's so much more that you're going to find out in listening to John. What an inspired story, what a great concept, and what an opportunity this is for anyone that's interested in a business model that really works and defying the paradigm of the typical restaurant industry. No double shifts, quality of life balance. It's all here. You're not going to want to miss it. I so appreciate you tuning in. If you like what you're hearing and if we're providing value to this industry, please leave us a review on your favorite podcast player. It's what we're about. We're passionate about this business, and we're just seeking to help you improve every aspect of your operation. So please leave us a review. It'll help other professionals like you find us. Can't wait to see you in this episode and in the ones to come. Stay tuned. Listen, don't lose birthday business to your competition. People celebrate birthdays 7 days a week. The check averages are high, and when they have fun in your place, they'll come back again. Talk to my buddy Dyson. He's an operator also, just like you and me, but now he runs a done-for-you birthday club. Go to jointhebirthdayclub.com/birthdayrockstar. It's a piece of cake.
You're tuned in to the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. Powerful ideas to rock your restaurant. Here's your host, Roger Bodwin.
Welcome back. This is the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. So glad that you're with us today. And John, welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Thanks, Roger. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Wow. What an amazing concept. You and I were talking just before the show, and we talked about the fact that I had bought a breakfast cafe, and then a couple of months later, the pandemic hits, and oh, what a nightmare, and all the things that we had to do to make that work during that time. But Keke's is a model that's just growing fast. And why don't you tell us the story of Keke's? It's two brothers, and that's where the name comes from, right?
Yeah, that's right. Keith and Kevin. Very clever name, and it's very catchy. Just so amazing what they were able to accomplish with limited restaurant knowledge. They found a diner approach up in the Northeast where they were from in Philadelphia and brought that idea down to Florida and started from scratch. So really impressive. 18 years, we call ourselves an 18-year startup, right? Because as you go through different business cycles, you find yourself dealing with growth. They did a tremendous part of that, growing to roughly 50 locations. And then we've taken the mantle from there.
That's amazing. So limited experience or no experience, which is similar to my experience 30 plus years ago. I started a restaurant. School of Hard Knocks, I'm sure, is part of that. But when you dig deep and you got a passion for what you're doing and you think, I got a great idea, we're going to make this happen. It sounds like that was the inspiration.
There's no question. Yeah, they were extremely hard workers. They were very intent on building a very specific type of model. And that's carried through. Once you establish that, and if you really follow through on those basics that they built, we're just following that model and trying to make little tweaks to it to make it better and then scale it up.
So labor is one of the biggest challenges in restaurants today. And the model you're talking about, I'm assuming, is the single shift model, which is really incredible because you're able to achieve a 20% labor cost, take the managers out of it, but literally the labor itself is 20%, which is very strong. Explain how that single shift model works. And did the team really clock in at 7 and they're out and put away and cleaned up by 2:30?
Sure. You need an opener. They come in typically 6:30, and then manager will be on site. And then a server starts to come in around 7 o'clock, and they just get the cafe open and ready. So our focus is to make sure that we close to open. Our prep is done during normal operating business hours. We get 2 truck deliveries a week. We do prep twice a week. Everything is knocked out during that normal time. We don't have extra shifts. Yeah, I came from a brand that was a single shift to start off with. They now do lunch as well, but they were a dinner and nighttime only. They would open at 4 and close at 10:30 or 11:30 on the weekends. And there was an entire shift and a whole host of folks that were there doing prep work, getting that scratch kitchen squared away and ready as you go. All of our stuff is really largely fresh. It comes straight off of the truck and straight onto the plate. Very little preparation is required. We don't have a lot of items that we have to prep that are rich in ingredient mixtures, things of that nature. It's all just fresh food right straight to the plate.
And that seems like a simplified menu as well. That's not overly labor intensive to put together. But do you have omelets and all those types of things, or it's
We
simpler
do.
than that?
Yeah. Omelets
People
are
love omelets. They have to.
absolutely omelets, pancakes, waffles, stuffed French toast. Those are our key ingredients. We do offer lunch offerings as well, but keeping that simple and focusing on really high quality ingredients, the best fruit we can find, the best ingredients is really what helps make that plate come across to our guests and have an amazing experience.
What are the open hours of a typical store? Do they open at 7:30, 8 o'clock, or?
7 to 2:30, every cafe, every day.
Oh, so that's the open hours then. Oh,
That's it.
fantastic. All right. Now you're also doing catering, which is another profit center. I'm a huge believer in that. Does that fall within these opening hours? Are you doing any catering after those hours?
It's all falling in the same
Amazing.
operating hours. That's right. There
Wow.
might be a few conversations you may have afterwards with clients that reach out to you at 4 p.m,
Yeah.
et cetera. And there may be some correspondence, but we're able to get all that stuff rocking and rolling and have it ready in our normal business hours.
You've already answered this, and I assumed that there would be a lot of pre-prepared items coming off the truck, but that's not the case. And I was going to say that would increase food costs at the advantage of lowering labor costs, but that's not happening at all.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We go straight into cutting the fruit. In many cases, we're
Yeah.
cutting the fruit to order right there at the point of attack. So we're prepping the things that are smart to prep, that have strong shelf lives, that are safe, obviously, from health and safety, and get straight into quick delivery. The term that the founders like to use was fresh food fast.
That's part of the marketing, right? That's the tagline.
That's it.
Fantastic. What about the huge spike in egg prices? What happened then?
Ooh. Man, that hit all of us hard. That was a real impact to our business. That was unbelievable. From $30, $40 a case up to over 100. And just being our core item, we all had to have emergency conversations. This made its way a rippling effect through even to the boardrooms and executive leadership teams, not just for our business, but for anybody who is utilizing eggs, especially to the volume that we are. And there were some folks out there that went after it in different ways. How do you marry up who you are as a brand and maintain profitability through difficult times? And how much do you pass through to your consumers and your guests? It was a real issue with a lot of firepower behind it on how everyone chose to go after that.
Can you dive a little deeper into what the solution was for you or how you did handle it?
Yeah. So for us, just to let you know, most of our cafes currently are in Florida. We've now recently expanded to 7 states total, but the impact was here in Florida. So we typically take 2 pricing increases on an annual basis, and those are typically in the same times of year. And so what we chose to do was to accelerate one of those menu launches by about a month and a half, 2 months, to satisfy. We didn't take all the pricing to recapture what would get us even with those changes.
Yes.
We put in like a normal price increase that we would have twice a year, and we just accelerated it up for us.
Now, obviously, the consumer felt the pain at the supermarket, and they were well aware of this. But was there any type of special communication when you had to raise prices to let people know we're not trying to get rich here? This is what the reality is. Was there any communication with the guest?
There wasn't for us. We decided to approach it this way, Roger, which is we didn't want to make our problem our customer's problem. When you tell on yourself out front, that is a way to discuss things with the client. And sometimes if they're savvy, they already know it and they can pick up on it. Oh, I'm short-staffed today, or someone called in.
Mm-hmm.
We put it in that same bucket of why go out and tell on yourself? Why not just go out and be honest with them about their experience they're going to have? And you have to be able to deliver that. And we put this in that same bucket.
So if that's the case, it sounded like you went to the war room and you did some real strategizing around this. And of course, you obviously were speaking with suppliers. Did you have a sense of how long that would last? And if so, did you take one for the team and just shrink your margins and say, this is going to pass quickly and we're just going to move past it? And so you didn't have to really spike the consumer?
Yeah, the unknowns were real as you were in the trenches and trying to figure out how long we thought this would last. Being close to our suppliers was critical throughout that process. Our director of supply chain, Adam Perez, was really close with our suppliers and understood everything they could of when they felt that the shift would happen. So we were preparing for the long term. And that's why we chose to go about this the way we did. We knew that there would be a change. It's just a matter of time when. The upside is with that particular cycle and chickens, growing chickens, getting the eggs and getting the bearing, it happens fairly quickly. As tragic as it was, for the industry and for us, it can recover fairly fast. So we're already coming out of those doldrums of having those issues and moving forward.
Now, a lot of independent restaurants don't have the leverage that you have, and a supply chain guy who's a negotiator and he's in there getting the best prices. Do you have exclusivity with your largest supplier, or do you mix it up?
We've got one supplier that handles all of our eggs. As we grow across the country, that's shifting. So we're taking close looks at what the best opportunity is for us. And while we may have some volume with up right around 70 locations, it dwarfs in comparison to our parent company of Denny's.
Of course.
So we're always paying attention to what they're doing and how they handle things as well.
Do they pass any of that leverage down to Keke's?
That's the trick. You're always looking to find the leverage points as you scale up and grow your business. And there are two components to that, Roger. I'll go more broad than answer that question directly.
Please.
Which is watched a lot of your shows, and you have to pay attention closely to what cycle of the business you're in. And it's not about how long you've been doing it. It's about what your growth plans are. And so we call ourselves small but mighty. We're not a big team. We try to accomplish a lot of things with,
I like that.
incredible attention to our detail within our disciplines. But man, it sure is nice to rely on a 70-year-old business with tremendous resources and experience and lean into those incredible qualities. And you've got to be able to do both. So we are under a large established legacy brand, yet we're still considering ourselves a startup.
What's the future hold for Keke's? Like how many, you go on national here, and how many, what's the ultimate number of stores?
Oh gosh, 500 plus. If I talked to my president, he'd say 1,000, right? He's got to be the visionary, and that's awesome. But getting to, I think 500 is a great goal for us to get going and then continue to take off from there. There's plenty of room for us to do that with about a 3-mile radius is what we try to protect on average. Obviously, density plays a huge part in that, but we've seen that as a magic spot for us within development, and that just puts us in a huge amount of places. Our model that we've built to understand what predictive sales, demographics, looking at incomes and growth, things of that nature, all tell us that we could reach that 1,000 if we wanted to.
Are they all standalone stores, or any of them in malls of any type? Or
good question. Yeah, I would say that our approach is flexible. Most of our locations are inline spaces. So end caps are preferred. If we can get an inline space in a great spot and it's got incredible density and really good characteristics, we'll take that. And we have a few of freestanding buildings as well.
those are really beautiful. I saw some of those on the website, and it looks like the front of a Nordstrom's. It's an upscale looking place that looks really appealing from the street. So visibility is great, but obviously guest loyalty is tremendous as well. People must really like the concept. And not only is the social media reviews positive, but I go back there because that's our place.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Tremendous following. And our whole purpose is to get and keep guests. Really any business. That transcends to anybody who's out there trying to do this or in any industry. And that is our sole focus, is to try and get and keep guests. And you mentioned the upscale kind of approach. That's exactly what we're doing. You can get breakfast in lots of places. How's it packaged? How's it serviced? And how do you feel when you walk in and walk out? That's really what it's all about.
Yeah. What a contrast to Denny's. Denny's obviously is so well known. It's been a national chain forever. But you have this upscale concept, and it's just really appealing, yet it's not overly expensive. It's approachable.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's the one day part. We focus intently on delivering the best experience we can possibly do and providing, yes, it's more upscale. We aren't trying to be pretentious. We're not trying to be the latest trendy thing with all the latest, the food trials. We are tried and true American classics done really well.
Beautiful. How many seats is the average location?
About 150.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yep.
That's good size. Now, this may seem like an odd question, but it's first come, first serve, no reservations?
That's correct. Yes, no reservations.
That's a topic that was really controversial. My high volume restaurant had 300 seats. We called it the 3-ring circus, but the phone would ring off the hook all day long. People trying to get a reservation. It was so popular. People would literally offer to pay $500 just for a table on a Saturday night at 7:30. And we always said no. And reservations is such a huge thing, but to me, it was inefficient because people do not show up at the reservation time, or two people show up when it's a party of five, and it slows down service. And we have lines out the door. It's like first come, first serve, get them in, get them out, give them a great experience, but turn your tables, right?
That's
So
right.
that's the way to go for you as well.
No question. We have we're always trying to boil down the essence of our business. And we've done that with Keke's and come up with three numbers: 5, 38, 55. The 5 minutes focuses on the first 5 minutes the guest experiences Keke's when they walk through the door. Whether there's a wait or whether there's not, what we want is from the time, let's assume there's not a wait in this scenario, from the time they walk through the front door, get greeted by a host, sit down, get their order in, get their drink and beverage on the table. That's the first 5 minutes. 38 has to do with their actual dine time. So the time the check was put in the system to the time it was closed out. And then 55 is what I call the speed limit of the kitchen. How many checks can you get out per hour?
Wow,
Right.
that's
So
awesome.
that speaks to the efficiency. So there's a metric there for every facet of the business. And we reward our people based on that as well. To your point, back to the reservations and how tricky that can be. And that's the blessing and the curse of having as much business as you did and that huge volume. So for us, we almost have two different businesses, Roger, in the fact of how our sales come in. We're going to get somewhere to between 50 to 62% of our sales come on Saturday and Sunday.
Of course,
So
I would
we
expect so.
have to be ready just like you were on your Saturday night. Every Saturday night was a Super Bowl for you.
No doubt.
Sounds right. So for us, it's the same approach. We have to be ready for that. And how do we do that? And so we're always looking at ways to nip at the edges to improve it, whether it be technology, operations. It comes down to 5, 38, 55. If we honor every guest with a fast, efficient, and caring service, then we're doing our job.
I like it. That's great. Fast, efficient, and caring. That's a super formula right there. Now, you mentioned technology. What is a must-have tech that keeps things flowing smoothly? If we could talk about some of the things that really help your stores.
Sure. Yeah. The number one thing is having a POS that's up and running 100% of the time. It's funny. We're in the
Yeah,
process of converting and we're moving to a new system with PAR. And I hope my POS people don't get upset about this, but every restaurateur I've ever talked to, no one's ever said, "Oh my God, my POS is the best. It always works. It's the most amazing thing ever." We all kind of, it's just like, it's a must have. We've got to do it. That's really critical for us, is making sure that we get that. And then what does that technology afford us? So the ability to have kitchen display systems, moving the food to the right person at the right time. Keke's was founded on tickets. It's still got that. In many of our cafes, we still utilize the ticket system. Everybody gets one, they put it up on their board and they're off to the races. As you can imagine, it's tried and true, but there's major opportunities there for us. And so one of the things that we've noticed with the new leadership that's come in to take the mantle from Keith and Kevin is bringing Keke's forward in smart ways. And so we're lacking some of the technology we feel could really help us.
Running my restaurants taught me that the right tools move your business forward. So I'm a fan of Touch Bistro. It's more than just a POS, it's an all-in-one restaurant management system built by restaurateurs. Touch Bistro helps speed up service, reduce errors, and turn tables faster, while loyalty programs, online ordering, and contactless payments boost your bottom line. Plus, real-time analytics, inventory tracking, and staff scheduling are game changers. Want to learn more? Reach out to my friend Becky at BTARTICK@touchbistro.com or give her a call at 647-360-3994. She'll give you the full scoop and take great care of you. Restaurants can always use money and funding for many needs: inventory, equipment, whatever. Problem is, you need the funds now, and there's no time to wait for an answer. 55,000 business owners chose Fora Financial. They're more than a funder, they're your business partner. You can apply online in minutes, get approved in as little as 4 hours, and receive funding up to $1.5 million within 24 hours. You can't get that quick turnaround from any bank or credit union. You decide how you spend the money with no restrictions. And here's a bonus: Fora Financial offers prepaid discounts, so you pay less if you pay off sooner. Go to forafinancial.com/rockstar. That's FORA financial.com/rockstar. Funding subject to terms and conditions.
We do have a wait system that we're currently using as well to help us flow the guest in and being able to text message them. It has tremendous capabilities, but we're not utilizing it to the full extent that I think we could to make that experience even better.
Do you do a significant takeout business at all?
We do. Yeah, it can be upwards of and anywhere between 8 to 20% of sales. So it just depends on the community, if they're used to ordering out. So we want to make sure we're there to honor that. It's a completely different use case. Typically do not see competition between dine-in and takeaway. It's truly additive. It's an expensive ad, of course. Anybody who's in the restaurant industry knows you're paying for that price for that software and access. But it's necessary in today's environment. We see that as a huge opportunity for growth for us still to lean into it.
Yeah. And how much catering volume does the average store do? Because that looks really appealing and you're offering quite an extensive choice.
It is. And it's just now starting to become more of an initiative for us, Roger. I would say we're still in the beginning stages of it. And just like anything, if you have 50 of anything, you're going to have that full spectrum of some folks who are just out there doing amazing things with it. And you're going to have other people that's what's catered. So we're actually going to make that a keen focus for us in the very near future to start driving that portion of our business. Right now, it's not big enough is how I would answer that question, Roger. We think there's big opportunity there for us.
All right. There's another growth plan. And again, additional profit centers. Do you do any merchandise, retail?
Today, we don't. We rebranded about a year ago and we've launched it. You can see here, I've got the Keke's. We call it the Corange, which is an orange with a K in it. You got to have that symbol. Before it was just the script of Keke's Breakfast Cafe, which is fine, but depending on signage and all that kind of stuff, you relate it back to purchasing material. It wasn't exciting. Could have been an IT logo. It was very clean and I think expressed an efficiency about it, which we do try to deliver within our brand and always will. But we've also got to have something that's a little bit more marketable, something that I may want. And so marketing and the merchandise is something that we look forward to in the future.
Now, with all those moving pieces going on, we got catering, we got takeout business out the door, we're filling 150 seats, we're getting people in and out, we're turning our tables. That speaks to leadership and it also speaks to teamwork and training. Can we talk about staff training and philosophies and onboarding and how you get people consistent across the stores to deliver amazing service and to work together so efficiently?
There's no question. It's really interesting, Roger, that you can go all the way to somebody who has the greatest manual, using all the technology, has the most beautiful learning management system. I have yet to ever hear of an organization that gets awards for their handbook, and that was their key to success. It's part of the story. There's no question about it. But where the rubber meets the road and being on those front lines is really critical. So on-the-job training and really getting our training program solidified around these great teachings that are part of our culture. It's just woven into who Keke's is. And so we recognized, having many of the leaders that have come in recently, coming from other organizations and having formal training programs and things of that nature, we realized there's a magic that's happening. We just have to document it and get it squared away in the right way for our people. And I'll say this about people, you're touching on something that I'm pretty passionate about. So of all the years that I've run businesses and or teams, there are three qualities that I'm always seeking. And this transfers into my franchisees now as well, as part of my role to help bring them in. And it's served me well. One is you have to have an open mind. You may have experience of 40 years somewhere else. Roger, your experience tells you a lot of things. You're out there teaching things, but there's always something more to learn. And having that, I don't want you crystallized when you come in. I've been a server for 8 years over at Name a Place, right? That ladders up to breakfast only. I need you to unlearn some of those things and be willing to allow some new things in on how we approach it and what makes us different. It's not just about taking the order, slamming them and getting them in and out. It's about caring for them while we're doing it with efficiency. And there's an art to that. The second part is you got to have your own motor. It's not my job to call you up in the morning and get you in for your shift. If you don't have your own motor, we can't operate. And I'm sure you've seen that a lot in your career.
Oh,
Man,
yes.
you recognize those people that wake up and actually drive your business on your behalf and with you. Oh my gosh, now you're really starting to talk about synergies and exponential growth. And the last one's integrity. Do the right thing when nobody's looking. That's how I would define that, right? If you have those three things, an open mind at all times, your own motor, and integrity, you're part of my team. I don't care what your background is, Roger. It doesn't matter if you have restaurant experience or not. If you bring those three things to the table, you're on my team.
You've got a balance there because I often ask the question, do you hire for experience or do you hire for approach and attitude to the job and we'll train for the rest? And it sounds like you'll take people, whether they have experience or they're inexperienced, and we'll train them. But those core philosophies, everyone must demonstrate every day on the job.
Watching you do your thing, Roger, and you talking to so many different folks and learning more and more about this business every day. The restaurant industry, what makes it so interesting? Why are we in? And a big part of that is because it's approachable. It's a great place to get something going if you don't have skills. We will train you. We'll bring you through it. I heard your story. You started out in the back of the house, dish pit, bussing and waiting tables and all those things. That's where I started. I started out in the dish pit. We'll teach you. If you show skill level beyond being a disher, then you've got a career in the making. It's sitting right there for you. So that's what makes that approach. I just always appreciated being able to take people, because this is something you see this in general in society with folks having a tough time finding a job or thinking they're specifically going to do one thing. While you're trying to get to that thing, do what's in front of you now and see what happens. And that's what happened to me in the restaurant industry, just continuous growth of making my through all the way on to owning a cafe, to owning my own restaurant, being a franchisee, starting new brand, things of that nature, and then working for large organizations. It can take you everywhere you need to go if you have these three things. Doesn't matter.
Wow, you're speaking my language. That is so awesome. And it's all about recognizing something special in a person, taking a special interest in them and
Yes.
showing them, demonstrating them. You don't need a formal education. You don't need to go to college. You can literally take this all the way. You can work anywhere around the world. You can rise up. You can start your own restaurant. I've seen it happen. Sounds like you've seen it happen as well. That speaks to true leadership, but it also speaks to encouraging passions in people, because this is a career. It doesn't have to be a stepping stone to somewhere else.
That's exactly right. I'm getting chills with you right now, thinking about all of the amazing stories over the years of people that I've worked with, the experiences. I was blessed to have a few incredible mentors, the founders of Outback Steakhouse, Chris Sullivan, Bob Merritt, and Tommy Shannon, all guys that were embedded in Outback in the early days, and seeing them start from scratch and what that turned into in one generation is amazing. What an incredible ride and story that was. And so those gentlemen helped me see things in different ways as well. They were already in leadership positions, but they never forgot what it was like to be on the front lines. And they always honored every single person in the organization with the highest levels of respect. And they knew that, just what you said, that personal, you can't know everybody in a 50,000 people organization, but you can certainly go in and introduce yourself to them and let them know you see them, you hear them, and you know what they're going through, and let's go fight the fight together.
I love that as well. That brings to mind that TV show Undercover Boss, if you've ever seen it, where the CEO just pretends to be a line employee and just goes to work and no one has any idea who he is, but he treats everyone like they're special, and and then recognizes those people from within and changes their life. It sounds like a lot of that magic is happening at Keke's as well.
There's no question. Yeah. I mean, we've got employees that have been around for over a decade. We've got franchisees that are been around for a long time, gone through some ups and downs with economy changing, pandemics, and they call me up and say, "Hey, I want to grow. What can I do to do more with you? Let's do this."
Wow, that's such a beautiful thing. So what are some of the other key systems to scale and grow a business to the level you're going for? We talked about technology, but there's clearly other systems that allow a new franchisee to come in and just open the doors and go for it.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about this, is being able to keenly focus between 7 and 2:30 affords you a one shift mentality. And it also changes the number of employees you may need to have, not working those extra shifts. There's no such thing as a double, right? The double is of your own creation. There are plenty of folks out there that are willing to do that and work 16, 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
In our industry, we see that all the time. So for us, our goal is to try and get people into a position where they can come and work with us. If they have other ambitions, that's great. But being able to have someone come in at 8:30 in the morning and leave at 2:30, 3 o'clock, so you can drop your kids off at school, pick them up on the way home, and afford yourself that quality of life. I've been in situations and know people today where I said, "Hey, all right, I'm going to have you come and work 7 to 2:30 as a manager or a general manager, but you're going to take a 15 to 20% pay cut. Would you do it?" Compared to where you're working today, they're working doubles. They got huge complications with their business. It's a tougher environment to work in. You might close and be home at 1 a.m. on some days, and other days you're up at 6 o'clock to go in and manage the prep shift. If you're doing lunch, we just don't have that. And so the quality of life and being able to stay in this magical industry of being able to build this amazing thing every day. And one of the things that makes people restaurant people, Roger, and this is something I'm sure you've explored with some of your other folks, is what is that magic? One is that entry level I'm talking about, but it's the growth and the trust of each other every single shift, in my opinion, that gets you to say there's nothing like it, right? I haven't been in any other business. I've been in finance. I've had other businesses, and nothing creates the energy of pulling off a shift, right? It's so much fun when you're staffed and
It's a
stocked.
natural high is what it is.
Yes, it really is. It's amazing. And it's an empathy gene. There's so many things wrapped up in it. Just being able to make that many people happy and know that you landed the time they got their food from the time they asked for it, doing something a little extra, seeing the smiles on their faces, inviting people in at the same time when you're saying goodbye to somebody. Like, it's just all of it together is just this magical formula. And being able to do it between 7 and 2:30 and stay with the industry and not have that burnout is critical for us. It's a huge part of our model.
That is a complete paradigm shift from the rest of this industry where, like you're saying, there is no work-life balance and people do burn out and people are working really hard for not a lot of money in some cases. And yeah, and that's part of the reason why turnover is so high. So I'm guessing that your turnover is really low and people really have morale and team spirit. And they love the fact that I can be home by 3 o'clock and just go on with the rest of my day.
Exactly right.
That is really an anomaly in our industry. And that's what makes Keke so fascinating for one reason alone. Wow, that's terrific. John, this has been a great opportunity to speak to you, and what an exciting business you're in.
Thank you, Roger. We all feel the same way. I say this, it's not uncommon to have heard it, but to really truly be in it with my team and with this brand is that I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work. Something comes across my plate, Roger. It is a level of excitement because I know who's standing next to me in their functions to handle their part, and my ability to just look over and ask them the question to make this better and deliver an incredible experience for our guests and our investors and our franchisees, et cetera. Every single day, I just feel lucky and blessed. So thank you for this time. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, Roger.
Let me ask you one last thing, John.
Sure.
Let's talk about the franchise model and what you look for, because I have audience members that might be interested in the next big thing. What are you looking for in a typical franchisee? Level of experience and commitment and all that type of thing.
Yeah, I'm just going to reach back to my same three things. Do you have an open mind? Do you have your own motor? And do you have integrity? Now, the trick is for all people who are going after the right franchisees, I haven't found the unicorn yet where you're like, okay, they've got 20 years of restaurant ownership experience, multi-units. They've got cash. They've got willingness to work on the front lines with their people when needed, all those things. You're always having to marry, I'm going to simplify it and boil it down to two things you're always trying to look for. Do you have the cash to pay for this heavy capital intensive business? Restaurants are not cheap to build and to staff and stock. And then do you have the experience within restaurants? And so what I'll say about our existing franchisees, which are amazing, so lucky to work with them, many of them didn't have restaurant experience to get started. So that is not an absolute requirement. Is it nice to have? Sure. If someone has passion and they walk through that door and they say, I've been going to Keke's for 10 years, or I've heard about you and I've been studying you, I'm going to take them on the journey with us, Roger, and we're going to see if it's the right fit.
That's fantastic, John. Thank you so much for sharing your time and this interesting model, the single shift model, and everything that makes Keke's Breakfast Cafe so special. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you, Roger.
That was the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. Thank you so much to our audience for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors this week. We can't wait to see you in the next episode. Stay tuned, stay well, and I will see you then. That's a wrap, John. Listen, what would it feel like to lower your operating costs, double your sales, lower staff turnover, create raving fans, and design a menu that literally prints money? Our online restaurant training system will teach you and your staff to rock your restaurant and transform your business. Head on over to restaurantrockstars.com. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to get started. You've got this.
Thanks for listening to the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. For lots of great resources, head over to restaurantrockstars.com. See you next time.